Ever wondered what really makes a business tick? I mean, it's not just about having a great idea or a cool product. The real story, the one that tells you if a company is winning or losing, is told in a special language. Now, it might seem a little intimidating at first, but it's probably the most powerful language in the entire world of commerce. We're talking about accounting, and today we're going to break it all down.
So let's just get right to the heart of it. Let's say you're pouring all your time, your money, your energy into a business, a startup, maybe even just a side hustle. How do you actually know if you're winning? Is it just a feeling? Is it the cash in the drawer at the end of the day? Well, as you've probably guessed, the real answer is a little more complex than that.
Let's make this super simple. Just picture you're running a small local shop. It's a busy little place. Every day you're buying new stuff to sell, you're making sales to your customers, you're paying your bills. Money's coming in, money's going out. It's this constant and, let's be honest, sometimes chaotic flow of cash. Now, what do you think happens if you try to keep track of all of that just in your head? It is a recipe for disaster. You're going to forget things, crucial things. Did I pay that supplier? How much bread did we really sell last week? It's not just messy. It's financial chaos. And you know what? Chaos is the #1 enemy of a successful business.
And this right here is where accounting swoops in like a superhero to save the day. It's the system, the method, designed specifically to bring order to that financial chaos. So don't think of it as boring paperwork. Think of it as a tool that creates a clear, understandable picture out of all that noise. So how does it work, this magic? Well, you can really break the whole process down into 4 key steps. First off, you have to record everything. I mean, every single transaction, no matter how small. Then you classify them. This is where you start grouping similar things together. All your sales go in one pile, all your rent payments in another, and so on. Next, you summarize all that data into these neat, clear reports. This is where the numbers really start to take shape. And finally, and this is the most important part, you interpret those reports to figure out the story they're trying to tell you. And hey, it's not just me saying this. The American Institute of Certified Public Accountants has this great definition. They call it the art of recording, classifying, summarizing, and interpreting. And I absolutely love that they use the word art because it's not just about math. It implies there's a real skill to it. There's insight. There's even a bit of creativity in how you tell a company's financial story. So let's just lock this idea in our heads right now. Accounting is the language of business, period. If you want to understand if a company is healthy, if it's struggling, if it's about to take off, you need to learn how to read its financial story. And that story is written in the language of accounting. So now that we've got a handle on what accounting is, let's zoom out a little bit. Let's look at the entire ecosystem. Who are the players involved, and who are they creating all this information for anyway? First, let's tackle a question that comes up all the time. What is the difference between bookkeeping and accounting? The easiest way to think about it is like this. Bookkeeping is the foundation. It's the day-to-day work of recording every single transaction. Accounting then comes in and builds on that foundation. It takes all that raw data and analyzes it, turning it into a powerful tool you can actually use to make decisions. This slide here gives us an even clearer picture. If you look at the scope column, you can see bookkeeping is pretty narrow. It's all about recording. Accounting is much broader. It includes the recording, but also the summarizing and interpreting. And then, at the very top, you have accountancy. This is the whole body of knowledge, the theories and principles behind everything. You could think of it as the grammar and the rules of our financial language. Okay, so we're generating all this incredibly valuable financial info, but who is it for? Who is the actual audience for all these reports? This slide breaks it down really nicely into 2 main camps. On one side, you have your internal users. These are the people inside the company, the owners, the managers. They need this information to make big decisions. Are we profitable enough to hire someone new? Can we afford to expand? Then on the other side, you have your external users. These are folks outside the business, like potential investors who want to know if their money is a good bet, or the government, making sure you're paying your taxes correctly. Both groups need the same numbers, but for totally different reasons. You know, just like a doctor might specialize in hearts or in kids, accounting isn't just one big thing. It actually has its own specialized branches, and each one has a very unique focus. Let's take a quick look at some of the main ones. So this table lays out the big specializations. Financial accounting is what most people think of. It's all about creating those official reports for outsiders. Cost accounting is fascinating. It's almost like being a detective. Your job is to figure out the exact cost to produce one single thing, whether that's a car or a single cupcake. Management accounting is all about looking forward. It helps managers plan for the future. And finally, tax accounting. Well, that one's pretty self-explanatory. It makes sure the business is playing by the rules and paying what it owes. All right, if accounting is a language, then it's time we learn some of the vocabulary. We're about to cover some of the most fundamental terms. I promise, once you get these down, you'll be able to follow pretty much any financial conversation. First up, we've got assets. This is basically anything the business owns that has value. It could be something big and physical, like a building or a delivery van, or it could be something like the cash in your bank account. The key thing to remember is this: if the business owns it and it's worth money, it's an asset. Simple as that.
Now, for the other side of that coin, a liability. This is any amount of money the business owes to somebody else. The classic example is a loan from a bank, but it could also be money you owe to your suppliers. At its core, a liability is a claim someone else has on your assets. It's a debt you have to pay back.
Next up, we have capital. This is the seed money, the initial investment that gets a business up and running. It's the money or the assets that the owner personally puts into the company to get the whole thing started. You can think of it as the owner's stake in the business. It is the foundation that everything else is built on.
Now let's look at the two big forces that are always in a kind of tug of war. On one side, you've got income. This is the money flowing into the business, usually from selling your product or service. On the other side, you've got expenses. These are all the costs of just keeping the lights on, things like rent, salaries, supplies. And the whole point of the game, really, is to make sure your income is bigger than your expenses. That difference? That's your profit. Okay, let's put this all together with a quick story. Meet Ria. She's starting a bakery. She invests 100,000 rupees of her own money to get it going. That's her capital. She uses some of that money to buy an amazing, state-of-the-art oven. That oven is an asset for her business. But she needed a little extra cash for that fancy oven, so she took out a small loan from the bank. That loan, that's a liability. See? Just like that, you can see how these words start to paint a picture of her brand new business.
So we have covered a lot of ground today. We've seen that accounting isn't just about crunching numbers. It is about telling a story. It's the language of business. And the good news is, you now know the basic vocabulary of that language. So that brings us to one final personal question. What story do your finances tell? Whether it's for a business you're dreaming of starting or just your own personal budget, understanding this language gives you the power to finally read that story and, more importantly, to write the next chapter yourself.